sons and daughter-in-laws, I'd like to thank you all for coming today. Golf was a great passion of Jim's, and it was a huge part of Marilyn and Jim's lives. As well, many neighbors have shared time with Jim in that chase of the little ball across the golf course. So the thought to dedicate a bench to Delbrook seemed to fit. And as children sometimes do, they can make things seem pretty simple and right. Jared captured the idea that with the bench on the golf course, when we're all out golfing, we can stop and sit with Grandpa Gray on the bench. When Grandpa Gray is not there visiting with us, he'll be upstairs and he'll watch over our golf game. When the idea of donating a bench with memorial plaque to Delbrook in Jim's memory came up, we would have never imagined Jim would have ended up with which is now the nicest bench on the course. Augie and I would like to thank everyone for their generosity in making that happen. Augie and I think that that says something about all of us in the neighborhood and our memories of Jim. Bob was instrumental in helping with the phrase that you see captured in the memorial plaque, as he recalled Jim would often say, because that's what neighbors do. Today, we'd like to take some time as neighbors and friends to share our thoughts and recollections of Jim with you, Marilyn, because that's what neighbors do. So to begin, I believe Jeff Hahn.
Thank you. Really didn't prepare anything. My wife signed me up for this. And I made the comment that it was a very nice thing that the neighbors should get together and share some memories. And my wife agreed with me and said, "Great, you're first." So I apologize for not having much prepared. But when I started thinking about what I wanted to talk about, the first thing that came to mind is how I first met Jim. When we moved in after the neighborhood was already pretty well established. We were one of the last houses on the block. And the first time I remember meeting Jim is right after they dug our hole. Big hole of dirt, and I was out. We lived in Kentucky at the time and stopped by to visit my hole in the ground and see what was going on. And Jim was one of the first guys to run out of his house and come across the street and introduce himself and just welcome us to the neighborhood and tell us how excited he was to have someone there to cut the grass and make sure that that big mound of dirt that was going to be there wasn't going to be there much longer. Also showed a very good side of his character, which is just very kind and caring and very compassionate and very involved. One of the first things he told me is, "Don't you worry, I'll keep an eye on Bill Bond and make sure he doesn't truck into your dirt away." Which at first seemed like a very odd statement to me, thinking, why do I care about the dirt? but as I've grown to know Jim more and know their neighborhood more, I wish I had more of that dirt. But that's just the way Jim was, and that's my first memory of him, and sometimes first impressions are best, and it's just his kind, caring, and willing to even step out and say, I'll keep an eye on it for someone he didn't even know. And that's the memory I hold of Jim, and that's what I wanted to share with everybody today. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. Bob?
Okay, I got something to say.
You always have something to say.
Well, I guess you'd be surprised if I didn't have something to say, right? Well, first of all, I did prepare a few things. I guess Jim would know right now that if the bench location was up to me and the decoration or whatever, it'd probably be out in the freeway, facing the freeway, with a Badger flag over here and a Packer flag over here. So, I mean, I did have a little input in the bench, but I didn't get those comments didn't fly. I don't understand that. But then Jim would expect that. He would totally expect that that's how I would do stuff. So. And because we did go back and forth a few times on a lot of different issues, we didn't always agree on stuff. Always remained friends. A few of the guys here can remember our first parade in Jim's lawnmower. I think it was like a 1948 Boland's lawnmower. It went about 1.5 miles an hour. Top speed, wide open. But Jim, in keeping with what I like to say the spirit of the whole parade, and that he had a helmet on, and he had the idea, I think, like some of us, that we're going to laugh at ourselves. And Of course, Jim was very good at that too. And but his I never thought that it'd come the time when I really liked his old mower better than his new one. I think most of you got the drift of that one, especially the boys. I'm sure they do. One year, I don't know when it was when the Victors were still here. Mike and I rode to Jim's watching a football game or something one day, and Jim got a phone call. One of the boys or somebody called, and he said, well, I'm sitting here with my two best friends, Mike Victor and Bob Stadler. And I go, gee, I don't think you consider me his best friend or anything. And I even mentioned that to my wife. I said, that's unusual because I didn't hardly know him. But I think as years went on, I kind of realized that if you were Jim's friend, you were his best friend. And, you know, everybody was, if you were his friend, you were on equal. It didn't matter if you were his best friend in your mind or what. That's how we treat each other. You know, this is really easy. Okay, like Lee mentioned, I did kind of come up with the idea. It was just a suggestion about that's what neighbors do. I didn't think it was going to end up in the plaque, but you know, that's great. But I don't know, Jim helped me out with so many things. He would, you know, the computer stuff was one thing. And I would say you probably put in about 1,000 hours at my house, helping me get my basketball pool or something on the computer going. And, you know, in the winter, he was always over there, hey, take my snowblower, blow your driveway out. You know, that was him. Stereo wiring, TV stuff. He knew a little bit about that stuff. But, you know, I'd go to ask him, what do I owe you? Thanks a lot, Jim. As he got ready to leave the door, with a little smile, that's what neighbors do.
Jim?
Wish I would have gone before Bob there.
Sorry.
In the fall of 1997, 11 years ago, my gosh, was our first year in Arbor Ridge. And Monica and I have season Wisconsin Badger tickets, and we knew these folks down the street were from Michigan. I thought, well, let's just do a little elbow in one morning on our way to the Michigan-Wisconsin game. And Monica put this little teeny Wisconsin Badger towel on the end of their driveway. Just, I mean, not even that big. Of course, Wisconsin loses big that day to Michigan. We come home to our house plastered in blue and gold all over the whole front of the house, our driveway, everything. Just, you know, well, that came in subsequent years. That thus began an escalation. It was a very fun rivalry, except that the first 8 years of us living in Arbor Ridge, Wisconsin didn't beat Michigan, so it was a one-sided thing on Jim's part. But yes, there was a year shortly after that where it involved one of Jim's kids and a couple other guys up on my roof at about 2 in the morning, and I was up feeding Jackie at the time, so they didn't know that I could hear them. But anyway, awful lot of fun, and Jim really welcomed us into the neighborhood too, just like as Jeff said, and really always appreciated his assertion, his forthrightness, and getting things going, getting the Camelon going, and getting the chili dumps going, and just really appreciated it. So we'll miss him big time. Thank you.
Do we have anybody else that would like to say anything? Otherwise, I'll go.
Yeah, I was